Here to respond is Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's personal attorney and former New York City mayor. Mayor, have you ever been to this facility where this all went down?
I watched it being built, Jeff.
Really? So how could this happen?
I was an assistant U.S. attorney when they built it. I was the U.S. attorney who occupied the building next to it. It's connected to the U.S. attorney's office. So when we moved, I watched it being built. And when I was there, I had a window that looked right into the MCC, and I've been in it probably 20 times as a prosecutor and as a defense lawyer.
Well, I wish somebody probably thought they were looking out a window to see what was going on inside.
I know the floor they're talking about. And I don't like conspiracy theories. I don't think we should engage them yet because we need to know the facts. But the whole thing is completely incredible to me. And I just spent the night having dinner with two corrections officials who know that place as intimately as I do, and they can't figure out how this could possibly have happened. How you could let a guy who's the most high-risk prisoner in the facility, who could be killed for several reasons. He could kill himself.
Right.
Prisoners could kill him because they don't like perverts, alleged perverts.
Right.
And they don't like people who might cooperate, which he seemed like he might be a guy. Finally, there could be people from the outside who would reach the people on the inside to kill him. So he had three reasons why this guy should be protected. He was virtually unprotected.
So the irregularities are fueling the conspiracy theories because now there's a report.
I'm not sure they're true.
Well, right. I mean, there's a report that some of the records were being fudged.
Crazy stuff.
Right. I mean, but do you suspect there could have been foul play?
So if I were investigating it, I'd have to indulge all those theories, right? I'd have to consider he committed suicide, or they were negligent, or they were complicit, or prisoners came in and killed him, but they didn't really care whether that happened. So I don't know which of those four possibilities exist. I have tremendous confidence in Attorney General Barr. This facility wasn't something he would have been able to really manage in the short time he's been there. And I remember that facility as being one of the most secure facilities in America. I put mafia cooperators, Sicilian mafia cooperators, terrorists in there. Never had a problem with them because it was so well managed. What happened to him, I do not understand. I'll give you an example. They put him in a place with a bunk bed. Mm-hmm. So what can you do with a bunk bed? You can take a sheet and you can hang it up on the higher bunk and you can hang yourself. You should be in a facility with a flat bed.
Right.
So you can't as easily hang yourself. It's only one of about 10 things they didn't do. The camera didn't work. They didn't check the camera. Apparently, they were supposed to check on him every 30 minutes, which is kind of ridiculous. They checked on him every minute, not every 30 minutes.
Right.
But even that they didn't do. So I'm completely perplexed as to what happened.
Okay, let's move on. We have the mooch. I don't know what happened to the mooch.
I love the mooch.
I love the mooch, too. But I don't know what's going on here.
He's gone off the reservation.
Here's the mooch going off the reservation. We can react to that.
I think you have to consider a change at the top of the ticket when someone is acting like this. He has a nihilistic way to his personality. So the minute you say something he doesn't like, he figures that he can intimidate you like a bully. There's a pernicious evil in trying to divide the country.
So he's not getting an invite to the White House Christmas party this year?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, it's the worst thing you can do. I mean, I don't know what's happened to him, but he knows President Trump personally. Mm-hmm. And I know him personally for 30 years.
Right.
And one of the things that pains me the most is the way he's characterized. This is a really nice man. I brought 5 people out to see him on Friday at his fundraiser. He was so nice to them. They were all Trump supporters. They walked away and they said, he's really very nice.
That's what everyone says.
And I said, why do you? Now, they support him.
Right.
So why don't you think he's nice? Well, what they say on television.
Right.
So he's not like that. Mooch knows that. I don't know what he's doing.
There has to be some other agenda. Maybe too much hairspray. That's what we think happened to Mooch.
Maybe raising money for the private equity fund.
Oh, yeah.
Getting a little tough because they're Trump haters who don't want to give. I don't know.
It could be a PR move, but we don't know. Speaking of someone that needs a PR move, Joe Biden. Joe Biden apparently is forgetful as Robert Mueller these days. He didn't remember that he wasn't even vice president during a Parkland shooting. Watch him and we can talk about old Sleepy Joe.
I watched what happened when the kids from Parkland marched up to, and I met with them, and then they went off to up on the hill when I was vice president. They went off the hill to go into those neighborhoods. All those congressmen were like, "No, I'm not here. I'm not here. Don't tell them I'm around." They're afraid of it. They should be exposed.
Okay, Joe was not VP during the Parkland shooting. Not a good week for Joe. I mean, I think he also confused where the two mass shootings were. He confused Theresa May with Margaret Thatcher. And then he said poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Very hard for the big media, you know, the ones who love Democrats, to give up on Joe because they think he's the great white hope.
Right.
They think he's the great guy who can beat Trump. But it's quite obvious that Joe has always dealt with an intellectual disability, like he's not smart. So they don't want to admit that. This is the guy who plagiarized in law school. He plagiarized as a senator because he can't really think for himself. Obama never should have chosen him as vice president because he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to be vice president. Now there's obviously, and I say this, I think kindly, there's obviously a cognitive impairment.
A cognitive impairment.
How do you confuse being with, he did it for about 3 minutes, being with the Parkland survivors.
Right.
And you confused them with Sandy Hook.
Do you think it's a memory issue or do you think there's something else going on?
Well, I've been watching him for the last 3-4 months. Something wrong.
Because, you know, the gaffes go to his two biggest deficiencies, which are age, in many people's opinion, and incompetence.
Well, age is relative, right?
Right.
So Bernie Sanders.
Right.
I don't agree with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is sharp as a tack.
High energy.
Yeah. I came home from Washington a couple of weeks ago with Henry Kissinger. Henry's 90-something. Henry is still as smart as he was 30 years ago. It's not age, but some people get this earlier than others, and he's 77. Something's going on. Finally, here's what I am really worried about Joe. Joe's family for the last 40 years has made millions and millions of dollars over Joe's public service, including his son, who pulled down millions from Ukraine and billions from China. And the left-wing media won't cover it. There's something wrong there. Now, if Joe didn't know that, it's either delusional or he's lying. You can't have a son who took down $1 billion investment from China when you were negotiating with China and you didn't know about it, particularly a son who you're concerned about because he got thrown out of the military for failing a cocaine test.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's worse, not knowing what's going on around you
or
one. Knowing and not doing anything about it.
My take on Joe always has been not very smart, nice guy. And now I have a third one. He may not be totally straight because the family made too much money, and that offends me.
Crooked Joe?
I don't know, but either Crooked Joe or Joe didn't know.
Joe didn't know. Joe doesn't
they
know
made
a lot.
millions. The brother made millions. The son made millions, and they were trading on his public office.
There it is. All right. Representative Al Green, you know, he's been beating the drum for impeachment for, I think, since the president was inaugurated. He's come out with this new take on impeachment. It involves election strategy. Listen to this.
If he is not defeated in the Senate, he will still run as an impeached president, and there'll be a good many people who won't want to hold fundraisers with him, a good many people who won't want to be in his company, because he will become persona non grata to a good many of these wealthy people who are benefiting from his bigotry.
So this isn't about checks and balances. This isn't about high crimes and misdemeanors. This is about branding the president, driving his numbers down, and then intimidating donors and voters into supporting him.
Well, I think that these Democrats who are doing this, I think they need therapy.
Trump derangement
is
kicking in?
Now I think it's a definable mental illness. And there are a lot of psychiatrists in New York. We have more psychiatrists than any place else. And I would suggest that they go to the psychiatrist,
a lot of billable hours
get help.
right there.
He's been cleared 3 times.
Yeah.
He's my client. I've never had a client that's been cleared 3 times. Once is usually enough.
Right.
Twice is ridiculous. 3 times. He didn't collude with the Russians.
Right.
He didn't obstruct justice. Get over it. So go after him on immigration. Go after him on taxes or whatever the heck. But this is ridiculous. And it's only because the media is so set against him that they even tolerate this.
Well, they know that it's going nowhere in the Senate, and they know the majority of the American people don't support impeachment. So they just want to hurt him in the House. So people think, oh, wow, who aren't paying attention. This guy was impeached. Maybe I shouldn't throw him a fundraiser. Maybe I shouldn't send him a check.
Politically, I believe it will backfire on them.
Why is that?
Because I think the American people had enough of it. After the Mueller performance a couple of weeks ago, the clearing of him on both collusion, and then Mueller had to come out and say basically he couldn't find obstruction after he kind of, I don't know, he got confused or he lied or whatever he did, but he came out and corrected it. He never found obstruction. What are they doing? I mean, and then he was cleared earlier in a 7-month counterintelligence probe of collusion. So I think the American people have had enough of it. And I think politically it will help the president if they continue impeachment. I think Nancy Pelosi will lose the 40 seats in the Republican districts where her people won. And she knows that. That's why she, who retains a certain amount of adult maturity, understands she could not be speaker. But I'm not sure she can control Jerry Nadler. And Jerry wants to be on daytime television with his makeup on. And, but I actually think
we don't have any makeup on.
This is going to go nowhere. It's going to go. It's going to go nowhere.
So Nancy's the only one that doesn't have Trump derangement syndrome.
I think Nancy is a very practical politician. Whatever you think of her, and I don't agree with her politically, but this is a very smart politician. She knows this is a losing strategy. She's trying very hard to take her crazies down. And I think it'll work eventually. I don't think we have to worry about this.
All right. Rudy Giuliani says Nancy Pelosi is the voice of reason in the Democratic
I don't know.
Party.
I never thought I would say that. I ran against, I campaigned against her so often. But she's a practical person.
That's right. All right.
They're not.
Rudy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse.
Right.
You're terrific, by the way.
Thank you very much.